Hello and welcome to another episode of Anime Lounge Short Flights. I'm your host Lance here to talk about Ragna Crimson, episode 21. If you've been following me to this point, you know that I read the manga along with every episode so I can compare and contrast everything. Today's episode is going to cover chapters 48, 49, and most of 50. A lot of reading, a lot of content. For the most part, everything stayed on point with the episode. Some very, very minor tweaks, and I'll get into those in a second. This episode was so crazy packed with so much action. It was so much fun to watch. And on top of that, they're still throwing new information and adding to the story itself. It's not just fighting, we're learning more. So this is just a perfect episode. I can't believe how amazing everything is going so far. So this episode starts out with a great fight between Kamui and Ragna. They're fighting each other. Got awesome silver sword versus this cursed tooth blade thing going on. This Kamui's blade can extend and just transform itself into multiple different forms. We saw like a short kind of blade and then a super long blade. It extended like, I don't know, definitely a kilometer or so. The thing was really long. But anyway, the cool fight. I like the fact that like Kamui was going into like some kind of Kamehameha thing, and then like his hands turned into this dragon mouth, and then he like blasted that out. I thought that was really cool. Simple design stuff, but I thought the idea was really cool. So I bought into that. And then Golem, the guy who's transferring his consciousness into different beings, he's flying around in some robot jet, and he's fighting that dragon blob that can create other heads and just keeps blasting out everything. That's a very interesting thing going on there. Nothing too crazy. They're just fighting. The next real important thing is the fight with Altazora and how he's fighting all the soldiers, the old guy, the kid with the two blades running around, who got his like arm chopped off. So Altazora, he went 300%. And I think this is going to be a very important thing, that at least a foreshadowing kind of thing, because we saw Altazora transform other dragons into this 300% form. And he expressed that when they're like this, they decay a lot faster and they start dying, and they can only last a certain amount of time. So now he does it to himself. He's going to be super strong, of course, but I'm wondering if he's also going to kill himself at this. He's kind of suicidal right now anyway, because Terra Tectra is dead and he's, lonely, and he wants to just be with him again. So I wouldn't be too surprised if this is really going to be the case. I do think he's going to end up killing himself through this transformation. One other cool thing that they were saying was Alta was secreting this poisonous mist, and then Fu with his dragon arm is sitting in the bag. He's just absorbing all of that. That was pretty interesting. Another thing, Fu ends up like transforming his whole body into this dragon form thing, and he goes and attacks Ultimatia. That happens in the anime. It didn't quite get to that part of the manga. It's definitely got to happen, but I think they just jumped a little early into that part with the anime. So I'll get there eventually. I mean, this manga it doesn't jump around as much as the anime does. It kind of focuses on one story and tries to finish that story. So it's not trying to do bits and pieces and jump back and forth like a movie or an anime would. So I'm sure I'll come back to this in a minute. But after we leave Altazora, we see what Crimson's up to. And Crimson is a badass. He's letting us know from the previous episode where Ragna was, really ripping into him like, you don't have a heart, so why are you so weird? And I don't want to be with you anymore. Well, now Crimson goes and accesses his heart, and like his other alter egos are like inside him fighting like, don't do this. And he ultimately takes control of his heart for, like he said, a 10% power boost. And it wasn't really necessary because the king form of Crimson was explaining the ability to die and to come back time and time again will be more than enough to take out these dragons. You don't need your heart to give yourself this 10% power boost, because it's just not going to make that big of a difference. But he goes with it anyway, and I'm glad he did. As a viewer, looks really cool. We got these dragon wings. He's floating around really fast, and he's really dead set on using this gun to shoot down Ultimatia and kill her that way. But I'm totally cool with that. Maybe we can, you know what? Crimson also has the ability to like alter some forms of like the dimension that we're in, because he was boosting other things and decreasing other things. So he's got a lot of interesting powers. I hope we can get that explained in a little bit or something. Either way, he looks really cool. I'm digging all these tattoos, and this is the form that we see with Ragna's future self. So I'm just excited for them two to meet in that form and try. I don't know. Do you think they're gonna fight each other, Ragna and Crimson, when all this calms down? I don't know. Too much to think about. So as I was reading, I'm not exactly sure where I should have cut off because I didn't see things from the anime yet, but I was getting into new content. So I kind of just cut it off. And one thing that I read up on was there's a quick moment where we go into Ultimatia's past, back when she's one of the sun cultists and one of the Carlas that they're called. And they were just showing a scene where this one dude, he's a dragon slayer and he's like just about to die. And she's one of the Carlas is trying to heal him and she can't do it. So she calls over a couple other Carlas and they're all healing him. And then this one Carla, who I assume is the Ultimatia that we know, brand new. She said that like she's only like 1 year and 2 days old, so she's like the younger one. Anyway, she witnesses the saving of this guy, and like his head is off, but they're still like reversing time and healing him. So that was pretty interesting. And one of the Carlos that was doing all the healing turned old and was about to die, and had like telecommutic powers to express to all the Carlos that this one in front of me is going to be the new leader for whatever reason, the newest one. Why would that be? Anyway, so that happens, and then it goes right back to present. So it was some kind of past history, and it was very quick. So I'm very interested. I like to see that animated and like to get that explained a little bit more. But anyway, can't wait for all the action to continue next week. Can't come fast enough. This is such an amazing anime. I will see you guys next week, and we'll talk about more fun stuff.